Hi guys, I'm Shanks from happinessperkm and we are doing a small series today. We are at Pathwavers and the series that we're doing is on entrepreneurs who are providing some really yeoman service to the motorcycling community. This series is actually called Entrepreneurs and Motorcyclists, and I'm here today to have a chat with Piyush Wadhwa from Pathwavers. Hi Piyush, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing, man?
These entrepreneurs are providing a really phenomenal service, but it's a damn tough job. A very, very tough job that they are actually doing because the spirit of the Indian commuter has been alive for such a long time and they have really refused to gear up for a lot of their rides till date. It has been a huge mammoth uphill task for the government to even get us to wear helmets. And even today, you know how many people on the roads wear helmets. So I wanted to have a chat with Piyush today to figure out, why he started, what he started. More importantly, why he started, what he started. So Piyush, what is the date that you really started? What is the thing that really bit you and said that I need to do something for motorcyclists, I need to get into gear, and why did you do it?
So, 2014, we were on a ride from Delhi to Goa.
Delhi to Goa.
On that particular ride, I met Saran. Saran and me were brainstorming, and we were deciding on how we couldn't find gear, at least good gear, in Delhi NCR. Biggest brands possible were not here. If they were really expensive.
Mhm.
And in 2014, the money that you saw, it did not make sense. Right?
Mhm.
So if you were to buy good gear, you had to shell out about 20,000 rupees, which was a bomb at that point of time, which today feels slightly easier on the pocket of everyone. Right?
Do you really think is that because the purchasing parity has gone up, or do you think that people have become more, open towards wearing gear today?
Purchasing parity has gone up.
Okay.
You get better salaries today. You have more money floating around in the market. The 20,000 that was, if you were to hear 20,000 20 years ago, it would be a lot of money. Again, if you heard 20,000 rupees 6 years ago, it was still a lot of money. Today, 20,000 feels more in reach of a common man as opposed to just being for the elite or for the well-paid or well-loaded people. Don't get me wrong, it was just a time where we thought that we could have better pricing because across the world those pricing were lower. In India they were at 110, 120% higher margins than what it was outside of India. So most people would go outside India to pick up gear, including myself. So 2014, when we were on that ride, we figured that we wanted to get the best of brands at the best possible pricing and try and get the community to understand what good gear can do for them. Right?
Very interesting, because happiness per came also started the same way almost. We also had a 19-hour ride, and we saw all the problems that we really didn't want other tourists to face.
True.
So what in effect I'm hearing over here is that there is a gap in the market, and you saw that gap in the market, you started to fill it up just like we did.
Yes.
And we did it about 6 years later than you.
Yeah.
But very interesting to note that entrepreneurship really starts from there by seeing where there is a gap in the market, where the consumer is getting ripped off. Because honestly, if you are paying 2.5x, 2.5x what is of something available abroad in India,
Right.
it really doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Either you make it in India and make it to the same specs, or you make it better, or you get it in at a very, very comparable rate and make sure that the consumer is able to enjoy something which is world class at a really decent price.
Yes.
So Piyush, tell me, what are the biggest challenges that you saw in this business when you really started it? 6 years must have really given you a lot of inputs.
Yeah. So I am actually an eye doctor by profession. I had no idea of what this market was 6 years ago. And to be very honest, the only person who was my guiding light at that point in time was probably Sar. I knew about retail, but I did not know about all the brands that we could bring in. It took time, effort to understand each brand and what they bring to the table. And then bring it across into the country was even a bigger challenge. Right? Because most of these brands were not ready to understand that India was a capable enough market for them. They were still trying to rip us off, thinking that we're a third world country, and were giving us crappy margins when we started off. So, in the initial stages, it was a very tough challenge. The good part was that I can think for myself is that I opened a smaller store. I was in a city where I could experiment. There were not a lot of riders, so we were based out of Chandigarh. I had my first store there, and so I think everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. The
Lot
good
of
part
misses.
was the good part was that I learned from each of those mistakes, and I figured out what was the right balance for a motorcycling store in North India.
Can you elaborate a little more on some of the big misses that you had?
So, one of the biggest misses that I had was that I always had a mental block as to how much a person would spend on their gear. When we started off, we were trying to bring in the best possible gear, but also keeping in mind that our own pockets were at a dent. To keep that in balance, I would keep things that I thought would move more. Sometimes even bringing crappy brands that would just be a near miss for a customer to basically buy. But saving on that 2,000, 3,000 rupees to get something lower in quality was not the right way to go. Over a period of time, I realized that, me included, I would much rather buy something with a better quality in one go. It might give me a bigger dent on my pocket today, but at least it'll last me a good lifetime. It'll last me a good 5, 10 years, and I can take out every single bit of it from the money that I spent. And that is the same thing that I did for this store when we finally opened this up 2 years ago.
Very interesting, actually. I had remember a conversation I had some time back with another rider, and the guy was telling me about, I have this helmet. I asked him, where did you get the helmet from? He said, I got the bike when I bought it. He bought a classic 350.
Right.
So I got the helmet with that. I said, that helmet is a half-face helmet.
Yeah.
And take it from me, it is the cheapest in the RE range. He says, helmet is a helmet is a helmet.
Yeah.
I said, is that how much you value your own head?
Right.
Is what I asked him.
Yes.
And that's actually the turning point for him, because that's when he went on to buy at least a full face helmet.
Exactly.
He didn't spend too much, because I don't think many people on the road who are commuting really even understand the value that a good helmet brings to your, your riding or your head if you are in the middle of a crash.
Very true. 2015, I had my major crash. Right. It was unfortunate. It was not my mistake. But I realized that the only reason I probably survived was because I had good gear on. Most people don't realize it till they fall, right? What do they need? Why do they need it? They believe that most people are trying to fleece them off, which is actually right, because most people who had motorcycling shops earlier were people who were not riders. They did not understand what a motorcyclist needed. They wanted to just sell, 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 sell. And unfortunately, that's not the way to go.
Another thing it brings to mind actually is another saying: dress for the ride.
Yeah.
Don't dress for the ride.
Yeah.
Dress for the slide.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, very interesting. Piyush, you have a premium kit, right, which you sell for bikes and bikers.
Yes, of course.
Can you tell us more about it?
Now, when it comes down to bikes, you're talking about the best kits that can save your bike, alright? So you're talking about the best crash guards, you're talking about the best frame sliders, something that will save your bike no matter how strong the impact is, alright? The best brands in the world do that for you. Right? Alt-Rider's been doing that for a lot of years, alright? They're the best crash guards in the world. There's nothing beyond an Alt-Rider guard, alright? On the frame sliders, you've got empathetic, you've got Piyush, you've got R&D. All three do the same job, but do it really, really well. Unfortunately, a lot of people still think that they can buy a 8 lakh or a 10 lakh rupee motorcycle and get a nominal crash guard or a frame slider. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that same way. Right? If you don't have good crash protectors, unfortunately, if you do end up in a crash, you will end up damaging your bike a lot more than you would have if you had the right kit on.
Agreed. I agree completely. In fact, that's one of the biggest reasons why, even on my old world Java 350s, I have the original Java 350 crash guards. Those guards are much better than the aftermarket ones that you get in India.
Right? True.
I get what you're saying exactly with that. What about your premium kit for design on bikers?
See, for now, this is where it becomes interesting. All right. Just because a brand makes something does not mean it's going to be good. All right. So you've got Alpine Stars, you've got Dainese, you've got Revit, you've got Oxford, you've got Klim, you've got Ruka, you've got XYZ brand. The best part and the worst part is that each brand specifically works on something good, right? That's what
They are experts
want.
in that region.
Exactly. And everything else is outsourced. So essentially, if a brand makes an entire 360 for a customer, it may not be the right 360 because they specialize on something which they actually do R&D themselves, and then everything else is outsourced. So an Alpine Stars could have a great knee guard, but it does not mean they also have the best boots.
Okay.
But that's just an example. It does not mean that they're not bad. Alright. I'm just giving an example saying that Alpine Stars may have one thing better than the other. Alright. Everything in my store is either tested, tried, proven over time to be the best in what it is. Right? We don't keep an entire range just because of the fact being that it's an entire range of one single brand. We keep it because we trust that that will save the consumer at the end of the day. It will give him what he needs in terms of protection. Right? Klim does jackets really well, pants really well. Right? But there are still some parts of Klim that may not be up to mark. Okay. Gloves that they make, which they say are going to be adventure off-road touring. Right? Now, adventure off-road touring are three different segments. They're making one glove for that. They do have other specificities in that same range, but that one particular glove can't solve all three problems.
Mm-hmm.
It could solve one, maybe two, but not all three.
So it depends on what the rider is going to be doing exactly at that point in time when he's on the motorcycle.
Exactly.
And so therefore your kit is designed keeping that in mind.
Every single rider is different than the one before him. Everyone rides a different way, goes into different terrains, wants to do something different with their motorcycles. Not everybody wants to go onto the open road, ride the same way, at the same speed. It's not possible. You and me will ride very differently. Right? We could go on the same ride together, but we will still ride differently. I may want to go through traffic at 100 kilometers an hour, you may not want to, and vice versa.
Correct.
So these are things that are specific to a rider. So each rider is different, each rider's needs are different. You can't have the same kit. The good part is that you have 5 different variants in riding. You've got cruising, you've got touring, you've got adventure touring, you've got off-roading, right? Keeping all of these things in mind, every single rider wants to ride something his own way, wants to make it his own thing.
So your premium design kits are basically customized to a rider. And his styles.
I would never suggest a person to buy a Klim jacket and a Klim trouser just because it's Klim, or just because he wanted it to be the same brand. He could fit into a better pant by Dainese and a better jacket by Klim. It is possible. Comfort is always going to be number one when it comes down to kits. Alright. So if you want to protect yourself, you want to make sure that each and every product that you're wearing is going to be the most suited for you. Not for the person next to you, but for you. Which means that we get a lot of riders here who come in and say, if I'm wearing an Alpine Stars jacket, I would also want to wear an Alpine Stars pant. And also complete that kit with an Alpine Stars shoes. But that's not the right way to go about it. The right way to go about it is you find what is the right product for you in that particular segment. and see which one fits you the best with the most amount of comfort. Because if you're not comfortable at the end of the day, you're wearing the wrong gear, and when you do eventually, if you do fall, it may just damage you a lot more than what you wanted it to.
Got it. So, Piyush, basically, I want to understand one thing. What is the attitude of these guys when they come into your store? Are they kitting up because they really want to look good, or is it because they want to be safe?
We get both kinds of people here.
Mm-hmm.
We get people who really want to be safe, and we get people who really want to look good. Unfortunately, it's not going to be
Percentage wise, kitna?
people who want to be safe is maybe about 10%. Everybody else wants to look good, but want to be safe in their own way.
So it's actually in their head, right? That they think that this gear that they are picking up, for example, is going to keep them safe, and or maybe it is just their, that thoda sa ek kavach dal liya. We put some armor on. I know that I'm now kitted out to ride, but they're not really safe on the road.
Exactly. We had someone come in very recently. That person came in sometime in the evening, said, I have ridden 600 kilometers in the last 1 year. I just want to be bare basically safe. Which was very odd for me because you could fall right outside your house.
Or you could fall on a ride
Exactly.
at 100 kmph.
Exactly. Now, keeping both of those things in mind, you're still falling. You still want to be safe. As you correctly said earlier, that what do you value your head at or any of your other body parts at? Budgets are very good and important, right? A budget keeps you grounded. But what it also does is gives you a mental block because you would maybe do 200 kilometers an hour and want to keep yourself safe with 10,000 rupees. Unfortunately, both those things are wrong. You could have a good budget in mind, but you may never go to 200 kilometers an hour. That's also there. So, it's a very tough combination to be sitting across this table and telling someone that this is the right way to go about it. Major problem that I see with most people is they would never do any research on their own to find out what is it that they really want. They would mostly listen to other people, including myself or someone else, saying this is good for you. But I can give you advice on what is the right gear for you. But is it comfortable for you is something that a person needs to come across and tell us about.
Not only that, there are also many people who get thrown off by the experts, for example, and say that this guy's got a vested interest in selling me this or something like that.
Exactly. Most people who do come across to the store actually do think that. What they don't realize is I'm not trying to sell anything. The store is here because I want people to be safe. I want them to get everything under the same roof, right? What they do ask me, people who've been coming to me for years and years, have realized one thing for sure, which I think most of them have actually come across and said to me, is that I am not trying to sell them. And I hold true by that same words. I'm not trying to sell anything here. If you're asking me what you need, I can suggest you what you should go in for. The first questions that are ever asked in this store by me or my staff is, what is your budget? What are you looking for? And what do you really want to do with it? And those questions, if answered properly, are going to give you the right gear with the right satisfaction that you are in the budget that you really wanted to be in.
Alright, got it. So Piyush, you ride a lot. Does that help you in making kit choices for either bike or biker?
Now the good part is that yes, I do ride quite a bit. Also, the fascinating part is every time that I go for a ride, I find out something new for myself, and that is great because if I was stagnant and I was not able to figure out something new, it would just become boring over a period of time.
Yeah, then it just becomes a sales job at the end of the day,
Exactly.
right? There's nothing fun about it. So what I'm actually understanding is that a lot of your kit ideas, for example, may actually come from some of the terrain that you encounter,
Exactly.
some of the motorcycles that you see on your ride with you, some of the people wearing various kinds of gear. So these are the ideas that come to you for bike and biker, right?
See, the good part is that I stopped riding in larger groups a good 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we're generally a smaller, more confined group when we ride. It could be 1-2 people who would be with me. The good part of that is you realize what motorcycling is all about. You're not in it for the for
group
to
comfort.
show, so basically to just show that you're doing kilometers on a motorcycle. You're doing this because it gives you happiness. You're doing this because you want to feel that air on your face. You want to see the views that you would never see in a car, in an aircraft, which is why you're riding.
Come to my arms, bro. Seriously. You are also regarded as one of the most informed people, and I have actually met some of your customers. They have told me that you're one of the nicest human beings to be working with. So, what is it? Is it creating pressure for you?
It is. Every day that I come to work, I am happy. I love what I do. I think the one good factor that I did for myself was to follow my passion. I love motorcycling. I have been riding for the last 14 years. In the first 4 years of me riding, I never wore gear. Unfortunately, I shouldn't be saying that on camera, but I did not. And I was young and I was naive. I was in college. And none of my friends wore it. So for me, it was the exact same thing because they never wore it. Why should I? Fortunately enough, when I did buy a big bike, I came across good people who told me that I needed good gear.
You're probably from an younger generation, sorry. And I'm from that older generation which has seen the RX 100.
Yeah.
And take it from you know why the RX 100 was brought into India at 98.6cc?
Yeah.
Because over 100cc meant you needed to wear a helmet. And you will not believe the number of kids who used to ride a CD 100, an RX 100, and the TVS Suzuki, the old one.
Right.
Not the Supra. The Supra used to be 110 cc, but there was another TVS Suzuki which came out. And these bikes are all sub 100. And I'm telling you, it used to be peer pressure amongst us. अरे इसको helmet लेके आना है.
True.
And हम helmet नहीं लेके जा रहे. And I used to be the only guy in that group who used to be riding a Java, a 250cc Java, and I used to be always wearing this big helmet because mandated by the government.
True.
Very, very, very interesting. So, by the way, I am sitting in one of the most widely regarded shop in Delhi. What can you show me in gear? Show me 4 different types or 5 different types of gear which you think are must-haves. They are game changers.
Sure. So this is called the Klim Marrakesh. It's one of the best jackets for Indian conditions.
Mm-hmm.
This particular jacket comes with 1000D Cordura fabric, alright, which is probably the most abrasion resistant fabric that you can have. It's also completely breathable.
Mm-hmm.
It's got hydrophobic coating, which means that if you're in light rain, you would probably not get wet inside. But in heavier rain, of course, the water will seep through. It comes with V30 CE level 1 armors for your chest, for your shoulders, for your elbow, and for your back. And it comes with a lifetime manufacturing defect warranty.
Will you be able to service that lifetime warranty from here?
Definitely.
Wow.
And the best part about Klim is that because they're based out of the US, we're not sending back anything to them. We send them an email that there is a manufacturing defect. They come back to us saying, click photos while cutting up the jacket. So they don't want the jacket back. They're never going to sell it back to anyone again. We'll get a brand new jacket for the customer in case there is a manufacturing defect. And all we need to do is take out the armors and cut them up.
How many have you cut up already?
One.
Where is the armor?
In the dozen. But yes, we've had one complaint, and that complaint was actually not a complaint. He actually lost the K of the clip, which is serviced as a manufacturing defect. And so the company gave him a brand new jacket.
Wow.
Now, this is the second thing that I wanted to talk about. This is called the Klim Outlander GTX. Right? This particular boot has Gore-Tex, it's got D3O protectors, it's a trekking boot and a motorcycling boot all built into one. And it comes with the most convenient system, which is the BOA system. Okay? Now, BOA basically is the easiest system to work with, wherein you open this up and it becomes loose. In case you wanted to tighten it up, all you have to do is press it in and keep going round in a circle. And that tightens the boot up to where you need to be. Alright. The best part about this boot is you can do it with your gloves on, which is the most convenient thing for any biker to do today.
Nice.
Now, this is the third thing that I wanted to talk about, and which is most important for safety on Indian roads. Unfortunately, when you're riding in India, you're going to have people going zip zap and zoom around you all the time. What you want is to make sure that you're never, ever, ever rear-ended in India. Alright? To make sure that that does not happen, unfortunately, our original brake lights and lamps are not that great. Alright? So, Clearwater makes the best brake lights in the world. It's called the Billy. It costs about 15,000 rupees. But the best part is, you can see it from a kilometer away. It is bright and it will make sure that the person behind you is never ever going to come close to you.
He's never going to be able to claim that he didn't see your brake light.
Exactly. Okay, this is now the next thing that I wanted to talk about. These are the best bags in the world. It's called the Kriega bags. Right? Now, Kriega has been making bags for n number of years. The best part is all their bags are waterproof. 2. All their bags are going to be able to connect to all other Kriega bags, which means that if you ever wanted to increase the capacity that you have already, you can add 2 more bags, tie them with each other, and just keep going without actually having more mounting space. That's the best part about Kriega. Also, each Kriega bag comes with a 10-year manufacturing defect warranty.
And I always thought Tumi was the best nylon manufacturing bags in the world, but this seems to have put that to shame. Okay, but to each one his own. I think Tumi is more about travel,
True.
Whereas this is more about motorcycling and touring.
The last thing that I want to talk about is the Ogio Hydration Backpack. This is called the Atlas. The best part about this particular bag that it comes with a 2-liter hydration bag inside. It's got ample amount of space to basically put whatever you wanted, and it can also carry your helmet in case you want it inside this particular pouch that they made, which is completely expandable, opens up all the way through, and you can put an entire helmet inside and carry it on your back in case you're going inside somewhere and off your bike. This bag by far is my favorite thing in the store. The 2 good factors about this is Ogio's proprietary straps allow for the weight to never be felt on your back while you have all the stuff that you wanted inside the bag.
Nice. It redistributes the weight basically so that it doesn't hit your back.
Definitely.
Nice.
Okay.
Alright, Piyush, so that was interesting. पीयूष, आपका जो सर्विस सेंटर है बाजू में, you have one of the best kit outs over there to really handle big, powerful motorcycles and lower end ones as well. Can you give us some inputs on what exactly do you do? Whom do you target over there? What kind of motorcycles come?
So the good part is that I've been fortunate enough to have great staff on the service side. These guys are trained professionals from BMW, Suzuki, Honda. Uh, they've handled multiple number of big bikes. We only deal with big bikes beyond 600 cc's. We do the 310 GS and the 310R, but we don't service any of the KTMs. We don't service, unfortunately, any of the Royal Enfields. We do work with interceptors, but that's where we draw the line. The reason why we started this off was because I am the official distributor and dealer for Michelin, Pirelli, and Metzeler tires.
Okay.
And a lot of people who were picking up tires from me were asking me to also have a place where we could fit them. Fortunately enough, the tools that go into fitting of tires also are used for service. And thus we decided that why not also have a service side. So we service any and every major superbike. We also do tire fitment, accessory fitment, crash guards, lights, you name it, we do it. And yes, we've got one of the best kitted out service centers because I've made sure that every single product that is used in our service center is up to standards of a BMW service center.
Wow. So the way I look at it, biker accessories available, bike accessories available, bike service available. Next plans kya hai, bhai? What are you going to do next? What does Pathwavers want to get into next?
Next, what Pathwavers probably wants to get into is maybe have one Pathwavers in every major city across India. Hopefully over the next 10 years.
Nice.
If I am capable enough.
Beautiful. So guys, we were having a chat today with Piyush Wadhwa. He is the owner of Pathpavers, which had its humble beginnings in Chandigarh. But now he's really looking at expanding into all the metros and all the tier 1 cities in India. Let's give a big thumbs up for this because this kind of human work that I've been seeing on motorcycling with Piyush is literally very, very difficult to find, and it's a very, very tough job like I mentioned before. It also means, heartless nights, endless customer service, endless, talking back, figuring out with various vendors or various partners who are there abroad and making sure that the best offerings are made available to his customers across the country. So as we close, guys, Piyush has a brilliant offer to make to all our viewers. Over to you, Piyush.
So there will be a special coupon for all your followers and customers who will be able to come to Pathpavers or to our online website, which is www.pathpavers.in, and use that coupon code to get a special discount. All they need to do is like, subscribe to your page, and they can basically use that coupon code.
Thank you, guys, and the exact dates of this promotion are mentioned below in the description, so don't forget to take advantage of this. You really like this program, I would suggest you join the community. The community description is given below. Click on it and you'll join our WhatsApp group. Please don't forget to click like, share and subscribe to happinessperkm. It really gives us a slight, a kick. Thanks, guys. Happy tripping.